Do you know why most people never reach their goals? It's not because they don't work hard enough or don't want it badly enough. It's because they're not clear on what they really want. They don't have a plan, and they sure as hell don't have a strategy. The truth is, most people spend their time working without direction, chasing after vague ideas of success without a map to show them how to get there. And that's why they end up stuck, working hard but not seeing the results they expect. Now, let me ask you this. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the way you set your goals? What if I told you that by the end of this, you'd walk away with a blueprint to achieve anything you want? Pause. You see, the problem isn't the amount of effort you put in. It's not the hours you're working or the sweat you're shedding. The problem is the lack of clarity. Without clear goals, your energy is scattered. Without a strategy, you're just spinning your wheels. And that's where most people get lost. They work hard, but they're not intentional. They hope for success, but they never define exactly what it looks like. Let me make this crystal clear. Goal setting is a science, not just a wish. And when you treat it as such, you unlock the potential to achieve anything you desire. Think about someone like Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian in history. He didn't win 23 gold medals by simply showing up and hoping for the best. Every gold medal Phelps earned was the result of clear, defined goals and an unwavering commitment to the process. He didn't just want to be the best swimmer. He set specific, measurable goals for every race, every stroke, every turn. He didn't leave anything to chance. And when things got tough, when his body was exhausted and his competitors were pushing hard, Phelps could rely on the clarity of his goals to drive him forward. He knew exactly what he was working for, and that kept him focused on his mission. Now let's bring it closer to you. How often do you find yourself working hard towards something, but without a real plan? You want success, but do you have a clear definition of what success means for you? Do you know what you need to do today to get closer to that goal? Or are you just working in the dark hoping you'll stumble upon it? If you're not clear on what you want, it's impossible to make progress. The first step to creating the life you dream of is clarity. It's about knowing exactly where you're going and understanding how to get there. But here's the catch. Clarity alone isn't enough. You need a strategy. You need a roadmap. Take the time to break your big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Each step becomes a milestone, a point along the journey that keeps you moving forward. Without a strategy, you're just taking random steps, hoping that they lead you somewhere. A strategy makes those steps intentional, powerful, and focused. It's like building a house. Without a blueprint, you'll end up with walls that don't line up and a foundation that crumbles. But with a clear plan, each part of the house fits together perfectly. By the end of this, your mindset will never be the same. You'll see goal setting not as a dream, but as a science. You'll see it as a powerful tool that transforms your life. When you set goals with precision, break them down into actionable steps, and follow through with unwavering commitment, you can achieve anything. This isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about aligning your energy, your effort, and your focus with what you want to achieve. And when you do that, the results will follow. So let's get clear on what you want. Create a blueprint, break it down, and commit to the process. This is how you change your life. It's how you turn dreams into reality. It's how you achieve anything. And the moment you realize this, you'll never go back to wishing for success. You'll start creating it. Clarity is the foundation. Without clarity, you are simply wandering, hoping to stumble upon success. Think about it. How many times have you heard people say, I want to be successful, but when you ask them exactly what that looks like, they have no answer? Success is a vague, abstract idea without clarity. It's like saying you want to go somewhere, but you have no map, no GPS, no destination. How can you expect to get where you want to go if you don't know where you're headed? Clarity isn't just important. It's the foundation of everything you want to achieve. If you want to build a strong house, you start with a solid foundation. If you want to build a successful life, you start with clarity. Let's take a look at someone like Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. In the early days, Bezos didn't have millions of dollars or a massive team behind him, but he had one thing that was crucial: clarity. Bezos was crystal clear on what he wanted to achieve. He saw a world where people could buy anything online with a click of a button, and he pursued that vision relentlessly. But what set him apart wasn't just his dream, it was his clarity on how to make that dream a reality. Bezos didn't simply say, I want to make Amazon the biggest company in the world. He broke down his goal into smaller, actionable steps, and he stayed laser focused on his mission. When the world told him it couldn't be done, when the critics doubted him, he kept his vision clear. Every decision he made, every step he took was aligned with that singular vision. And that clarity gave him the ability to navigate challenges, innovate, and ultimately change the world. Now, let's turn this focus to your own life. How often do you set goals only to find yourself lost, overwhelmed, or stuck? This happens when you don't have clarity. You may have a general idea of what you want, but you haven't defined it clearly enough to take focused action. Think about it. Do you really know what success means for you? Do you know what your dream life looks like in detail? Without this clarity, you're walking through life on autopilot, letting circumstances and external forces decide your direction. The moment you become crystal clear on what you want, you take control of your life. You stop letting life happen to you. You start making life happen for you. Psychologically, clarity helps to focus your mind and align your actions with your goals. Your brain is like a laser beam. When you focus it on one target, it has the power to break through anything in its way. But when you let it scatter across distractions and vague desires, it becomes a dim light, weak and ineffective. Clarity gives you the focus needed to direct your energy toward what really matters. It allows you to say no to things that don't serve your purpose and yes to the opportunities that move you forward. When you know exactly what you want, it becomes easier to make decisions because you have a clear framework for what aligns with your goals. Clarity is like a compass. It gives you direction and it keeps you from getting lost in the noise of life. Let's take an example from the world of sports. Think about Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kobe's career wasn't built on talent alone. It was built on clarity. He was crystal clear on what he wanted to achieve, to be the best basketball player the world had ever seen. He didn't just want to be good, he wanted to be the best. And this clarity drove him to work harder than anyone else, to push through pain, and to never stop improving. Every day, Kobe knew exactly what he needed to do to get better, whether it was practicing a particular shot, refining his footwork, or strengthening his mental toughness. His clarity became his fuel, and that fuel drove him to greatness. The truth is, clarity is the bedrock upon which success is built. It's the difference between walking in circles and walking with purpose. It's the difference between dreaming about success and actually creating it. Without clarity, you're just guessing, hoping things will fall into place. But when you get clear about what you want, you create a roadmap for your life. Every decision becomes easier, every step more deliberate. So ask yourself, what do I really want? What is my vision for the future? When you define that clearly, everything else falls into place. Your clarity becomes the foundation for your actions, and your actions will bring you closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Clarity is the foundation. Build it, and everything else will follow. Breaking it down into actionable steps is the key to turning your big dreams into reality. You see, massive goals can feel overwhelming. And when we're faced with something too big, it's easy to freeze, to procrastinate, or to feel like it's just impossible to achieve. But here's the truth. Every monumental achievement, every world-changing innovation, every success story you can think of started with small, intentional steps. The key is not trying to tackle everything at once. The key is breaking down that big, daunting goal into manageable, bite-sized actions that move you closer to the finish line, step by step. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. Musk didn't set out to create Tesla and SpaceX overnight. These are massive, game-changing companies that are pushing humanity forward, but Musk didn't tackle them in one go. He broke down his vision into smaller, actionable steps. He didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to change the entire world. He first focused on making electric cars desirable, then building a sustainable infrastructure for those cars, then launching rockets into space. Each of these steps was a building block that led to his bigger vision. He didn't try to conquer everything at once. He focused on what he could do right now and made incremental progress. This strategy allowed him to keep moving forward even when setbacks arose. Now let's make this personal. Think about the goal you've been putting off or the dream that feels just out of reach. It might feel like too much to tackle all at once. And that's the problem. You don't need to solve everything in one day, but you do need to focus on what you can control today. Breaking down your goals into small, actionable steps creates clarity and momentum. Instead of being overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, you focus on what you can do right now, what is in your control, what is achievable today. Psychologically, this shift is incredibly powerful. When you break down a large task into smaller pieces, you begin to create a sense of accomplishment with every step you take. Your brain is wired to seek out rewards. When you complete a small task, it releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that reinforces your behavior. That small win, no matter how insignificant it seems, propels you to take the next step. And then the next one. The more you build momentum, the more unstoppable you become. The process isn't overwhelming anymore because each action you take gives you the energy and motivation to keep going. It's the compound effect in action. Small, consistent efforts that accumulate into extraordinary results. Think about someone like Thomas Edison. He didn't invent the light bulb with a single brilliant idea. He did it through thousands of tiny experiments. Each one was a small step that brought him closer to his breakthrough. Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure was an action step that moved him closer to success. He didn't view these steps as failures. He saw them as data points, learning experiences, and necessary progressions toward his goal. He kept breaking down the larger task into smaller actions and ultimately changed the world. Here's the challenge. Look at the big goal you're chasing and break it down. Take that giant mountain and turn it into a series of manageable hills. Ask yourself, what is the very first thing I need to do to get started? Once you've figured that out, ask yourself, what's the next thing? Then the next. As you start ticking off these smaller steps, you'll see progress, and progress is power. Each step forward builds your confidence and moves you closer to the life you've dreamed of. But remember this, it's not about how fast you get there. It's about being consistent. It's about breaking it down and focusing on one small action at a time. The bigger vision is achieved one step at a time. So take that first step and let the momentum take care of the rest. You must create a timeline. Without a timeline, your goals remain abstract, distant dreams that are hard to quantify, track, or ultimately achieve. Here's the thing, time is the most precious resource you have. It's not unlimited, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. And yet, most people spend their time aimlessly, hoping that success will somehow fall into their laps. They have a general idea of where they want to go, but they don't attach any urgency to it. The truth is, if you don't create a timeline, you will be stuck in a never-ending cycle of procrastination, always saying, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes unless you make it come. Take a moment to think about the goals you've set in the past. How many of them were accomplished without any clear deadline? How many times did you tell yourself, I'll get to it eventually? The reality is that without a timeline, there is no urgency. And without urgency, there's no accountability. If you say, I want to get in shape, but there's no clear timeline, there's nothing pushing you to act now, you can put it off indefinitely, and that's exactly what happens. Day after day, week after week, you find yourself in the same place. But when you create a timeline, everything changes. Suddenly, the goal isn't something that might happen in the future. It becomes something that must happen within a set period. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. When he launched the original iPhone, he didn't just say, hey, let's make a phone that's different from everything else. He set a specific goal with a clear timeline. Jobs and his team worked tirelessly to meet that deadline. There was urgency, there was pressure, and that pressure pushed them to innovate, to stay focused, and to push boundaries. Without a timeline, they could have spent years tinkering, making small improvements here and there, but the result would not have been the revolutionary product that changed the world. The timeline gave the project direction, focus, and the sense of urgency that it needed to succeed. You see, the beauty of a timeline isn't just the deadline itself, it's the accountability it creates. A timeline forces you to act. It doesn't allow for endless delays or excuses. It makes you look at your goal and say, this is when I need to get this done by. And if I want to make that happen, I have to start today. It removes the luxury of procrastination and forces you into a state of action. If you say, I want to write a book, but don't set a timeline for completion, that book will never get written. But when you set a deadline, let's say, I will write 1,000 words every day for the next 30 days, suddenly the task becomes manageable and the end result becomes inevitable. That timeline gives you the discipline and the direction to stay on course. Psychologically, a timeline is critical because it brings clarity and focus. It helps you measure progress, track milestones, and see how far you've come. Without a deadline, you can get lost in the weeds, focusing on small details that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. But when you know that you have a set amount of time to achieve a goal, you prioritize what's important. You stop wasting time on non-essential tasks, and you start putting in the work that moves you forward. A timeline also helps you fight the most dangerous enemy of progress, indecision. You can't hesitate if you have a deadline. You have to act, make decisions, and move forward. So ask yourself, what is your timeline for achieving your most important goals? When do you want to accomplish them? Are you putting it off? Or are you setting yourself up for success with a clear, non-negotiable deadline? Without a timeline, your goals are just fantasies. But when you attach a deadline to your dreams, you create the urgency that forces you to act. You take your goals from the realm of possibility into the realm of reality. You must create a timeline if you want to see the life you dream of unfold. No more delays, no more excuses. Time is your most valuable asset. Use it wisely and make every moment count. Hold yourself accountable. It's easy to point fingers when things don't go according to plan. It's easy to blame others, circumstances, or bad luck. But the truth is, the moment you start looking outside yourself for answers is the moment you give away your power. Accountability isn't something you can outsource. It's a responsibility that you must own yourself. And the moment you do, you unlock the door to true progress. The key to achieving anything is realizing that you are the one who will either make it happen or hold yourself back. And when you choose to hold yourself accountable, you choose to take full control over your life and your future. Let's talk about someone like David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete. Goggins faced unimaginable challenges, from growing up in an abusive household to struggling with obesity. But he didn't let those circumstances define him. He took full responsibility for his life. He didn't wait for someone to tell him what to do or give him permission to be great. He set audacious goals, and then he held himself accountable to them every single day. The physical and mental challenges he faced weren't obstacles. They were opportunities to prove to himself that he could achieve anything. And that mindset, holding himself accountable, has allowed him to shatter limits, break records, and inspire millions of people around the world. But here's the thing, holding yourself accountable is not about being perfect. It's about being real with yourself. It's about looking at where you're falling short, and instead of making excuses or justifying your lack of progress, you decide to take action. It's about committing to doing whatever it takes to get to where you want to be, regardless of how uncomfortable or challenging it may be. Accountability requires honesty, courage, and discipline. It forces you to face the truth about yourself and take the necessary steps to improve. It's about pushing yourself to show up even when you don't feel like it. It's about getting uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens. Psychologically, accountability is linked to ownership. When you own your actions, you take control of your outcomes. You no longer fall victim to external circumstances. You stop saying, "This happened to me," or "I didn't have a choice." Instead, you say, "I made this happen. I did this, and now I'm going to take responsibility for the results." This shift in mindset is incredibly powerful because it helps you realize that you are not passive in your life. You are an active creator. It gives you the freedom to make decisions that align with your values, goals, and purpose. And it also empowers you to make course corrections when things aren't going as planned. Take a look at someone like Elon Musk. Musk didn't build Tesla or SpaceX with the help of a fairy godmother. He took personal responsibility for the direction of his companies. He didn't have a cushy backup plan or a team of people to bail him out when things got tough. Musk invested his own money into his ventures, risking everything to make his vision a reality. But what makes him different from others is that he doesn't just delegate responsibility, he holds himself accountable for every aspect of his business. Whether it's a failed rocket launch, an unprofitable quarter, or a production delay, Musk doesn't point fingers. He takes the hit, analyzes the failure, and learns from it. His relentless accountability is what has allowed him to build two of the most groundbreaking companies of our time. So how can you apply this to your life? Start by acknowledging that the responsibility for your success is in your hands. There's no one else who is going to walk this path for you. No one else will make the tough decisions, hold you to your promises, or pick you up when you fall. That's your job. When you set a goal, don't just make it about the end result, make it about the commitment to. You must create a timeline if you want to see the life you dream of unfold. No more delays, no more excuses. Time is your most valuable asset. Use it wisely and make every moment count. Hold yourself accountable. It's easy to point fingers when things don't go according to plan. It's easy to blame others. Circumstances are bad luck. But the truth is, the moment you start looking outside yourself for answers is the moment you give away your power. Accountability isn't something you can outsource. It's a responsibility that you must own yourself. And the moment you do, you unlock the door to true progress. The key to achieving anything is realizing that you are the one who will either make it happen or hold yourself back. And when you choose to hold yourself accountable, you choose to take full control over your life and your future. Let's talk about someone like David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete. Goggins faced unimaginable challenges, from growing up in an abusive household to struggling with obesity. But he didn't let those circumstances define him. He took full responsibility for his life. He didn't wait for someone to tell him what to do or give him permission to be great. He set audacious goals, and then he held himself accountable to them every single day. The physical and mental challenges he faced weren't obstacles. They were opportunities to prove to himself that he could achieve anything. And that mindset, holding himself accountable, has allowed him to shatter limits, break records, and inspire millions of people around the world. But here's the thing. Holding yourself accountable is not about being perfect. It's about being real with yourself. It's about looking at where you're falling short, and instead of making excuses or justifying your lack of progress, you decide to take action. It's about committing to doing whatever it takes to get to where you want to be, regardless of how uncomfortable or challenging it may be. Accountability requires honesty, courage, and discipline. It forces you to face the truth about yourself and take the necessary steps to improve. It's about pushing yourself to show up even when you don't feel like it. It's about getting uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens. Psychologically, accountability is linked to ownership. When you own your actions, you take control of your outcomes. You no longer fall victim to external circumstances. You stop saying, "This happened to me," or "I didn't have a choice." Instead, you say, "I made this happen. I did this, and now I'm going to take responsibility for the results." This shift in mindset is incredibly powerful, because it helps you realize that you are not passive in your life. You are an active creator. It gives you the freedom to make decisions that align with your values, goals, and purpose. And it also empowers you to make course corrections when things aren't going as planned. Take a look at someone like Elon Musk. Musk didn't build Tesla or SpaceX with the help of a fairy godmother. He took personal responsibility for the direction of his companies. He didn't have a cushy backup plan or a team of people to bail him out when things got tough. Musk invested his own money into his ventures, risking everything to make his vision a reality. But what makes him different from others is that he doesn't just delegate responsibility. He holds himself accountable for every aspect of his business. Whether it's a failed rocket launch, an unprofitable quarter, or a production delay, Musk doesn't point fingers. He takes the hit, analyzes the failure, and learns from it. His relentless accountability is what has allowed him to build two of the most groundbreaking companies of our time. So, how can you apply this to your life? Start by acknowledging that the responsibility for your success is in your hands. There's no one else who is going to walk this path for you. No one else will make the tough decisions, hold you to your promises, or pick you up when you fall. That's your job. When you set a goal, don't just make it about the end result. Make it about the commitment to show up every day and hold yourself accountable to your vision. Break down the actions you need to take and hold yourself to those actions, regardless of how hard it gets. Easy to make excuses, but excuses won't move you forward. Accountability is about consistency, discipline, and integrity. The challenge is simple. Look at where you are today and ask yourself, am I holding myself fully accountable for where I am? If the answer is no, then it's time to get real with yourself. Step up, own your actions, own your decisions, and take full responsibility for the life you're creating. Because when you do, you tap into a power that will drive you toward your goals faster than you ever imagined. The moment you start holding yourself accountable, your life will change, you will change, and success will follow. Visualize your success. This is more than just a feel-good exercise. It's not some whimsical daydreaming. It's a powerful psychological tool that has the ability to reshape your reality. When you visualize your success, you're not just imagining the outcome. You're training your brain, your emotions, and your body to act in alignment with that vision. Successful people don't just hope for success. They see it, they feel it, and they act as if it's already happening. Visualization isn't about wishing. It's about conditioning your mind and setting the foundation for your future actions. Look at someone like Michael Phelps, one of the greatest Olympians of all time. Every night before he swam, Phelps would visualize the race in his mind from start to finish. He didn't just picture himself winning. He imagined every stroke, every turn, every moment leading up to that finish line. In fact, it's said that during the 2008 Olympics, when Phelps's goggles filled with water during his final race, he still won gold because in his mind, he had already visualized the race playing out flawlessly, including the obstacles. He saw it in his mind so vividly that his body responded without hesitation, even when faced with unexpected challenges. That is the power of visualization. It programs your mind to react automatically, to perform at its peak, and to act in alignment with your goals. Now, let's talk about you. How often do you take the time to really visualize your success? I'm not talking about just imagining the end result. I'm talking about getting specific. Picture your goal in as much detail as possible. Imagine how it feels to achieve it. Feel the emotions. See the people around you. Visualize yourself succeeding with such clarity that your body responds to it. When you do this, you're not just imagining a future version of yourself, you're becoming that version in your mind right now. Your mind doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. The more real you make it in your mind, the more likely it is that you will make it real in the physical world. Psychologically, this process is incredibly powerful. When you visualize your success, you activate the same neural networks that are used when you actually perform the task. Your brain starts to believe that you've already experienced success, and it prepares you to take the necessary steps to make it happen. It's like a dress rehearsal for life. Your brain practices the actions, the mindset, and the emotions that are required to succeed. And when you step out into the world, you're more confident, more focused, and more capable of executing what you've already rehearsed. Take a moment to think about your biggest goal right now. What does success look like for you? Visualize yourself achieving that goal, every detail, every feeling, every thought. If your goal is to get in shape, imagine how it feels to be physically strong, healthy, and full of energy. If your goal is to launch a business, picture yourself standing in front of a room full of clients or investors, confidently pitching your idea. Don't just think about the success, feel the pride, the satisfaction, the joy. When you connect your goal with emotion, you activate a powerful force that propels you forward. Emotions drive action. The stronger the emotional connection to your goal, the more motivated you'll be to pursue it relentlessly. But there's a catch. Visualization isn't enough on its own. It's not a magic trick. It must be paired with action. You can visualize success all day long, but if you don't take the steps required to achieve your goal, nothing will change. Visualization is the spark, but action is the fuel that propels you toward your destination. Every time you visualize your success, you're reminding yourself of why you're taking action and pushing yourself to stay on course. This mental rehearsal, coupled with consistent action, creates momentum that makes success inevitable. So here's the challenge. Take time every day to visualize your success. Close your eyes and imagine your goal as if it's already happening. Make it real in your mind and then take action that moves you closer to it. Visualization won't do the work for you, but it will prepare you for the work that lies ahead. It will fuel your determination, clarify your path, and keep you focused when challenges arise. You are what you think, and when you think success, when you visualize it, feel it, and live it mentally, nothing can stop you from achieving it. Your success is already within reach. Now go make it happen. Overcoming self-doubt is one of the most critical battles you will face in your journey towards success. It's a silent killer, often creeping in when you least expect it, whispering in your ear that you're not good enough, not capable enough, or that others are better than you. Self-doubt paralyzes, making you second-guess your decisions, question your abilities, and stall your progress. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is a liar. It is not based on reality, but on fear, insecurity, and false beliefs that we often create in our minds And the moment you decide to face it head on, to stop letting it control your life, that's when everything begins to change. Let's take a look at someone like J.K. Rowling. Before she became the author of the Harry Potter series, Rowling faced rejection after rejection from publishers. Her manuscript was turned down by 12 different publishers. Think about that for a second. This woman, with one of the most successful book franchises in the world, was told no. She could have easily let self-doubt take over. She could have believed that she wasn't good enough, that the world didn't want to hear her story, but she didn't. Instead, Rowling pushed through, ignoring the voices of rejection and focusing on her vision. She didn't let doubt rule her future. She turned it into determination. Today, Harry Potter is a global phenomenon, and Rowling's net worth is over $1 billion. If she had succumbed to self-doubt, none of this would have happened. It was her ability to silence that inner voice telling her she wasn't good enough that propelled her toward success. But let's get real here. Self-doubt is something we all experience, no matter how successful we become. It's part of being human, but it's how we respond to that doubt that makes all the difference. Every time you hear that voice saying you can't do it, this isn't for you, or you're not qualified, understand that it is just a voice, a conditioned response that you can control. It doesn't define your truth. You define your truth. The moment you realize that self-doubt is not a reflection of who you are or what you're capable of, you gain control over it. You don't need to eliminate self-doubt completely to succeed. You need to stop letting it stop you from taking action. Psychologically, the key to overcoming self-doubt is shifting your focus. Instead of letting your mind focus on all the reasons why you can't do something, focus on the reasons why you can. What makes you qualified? What past successes have you had that prove you are capable? What strengths do you possess that others don't? When you make the decision to focus on what you bring to the table, self-doubt loses its power. You stop seeing yourself as the victim of doubt, and instead you see yourself as someone who can rise above it. The more you focus on your capabilities, your successes, and your strengths, the more confident you become. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. Oprah faced massive adversity growing up, including poverty, abuse, and constant criticism. But she didn't let self-doubt stop her. She had the courage to keep going, even when everyone around her doubted her. Oprah used her setbacks as fuel, not as excuses. She believed in herself enough to create a platform that would change the lives of millions. She didn't focus on what others said about her or her circumstances. She focused on what she could do, how she could grow, and how she could help others. She didn't just overcome self-doubt, she obliterated it by taking consistent, focused action no matter what. The truth is, self-doubt will always be there. It's part of the process and it's natural, but you have a choice. You can let it control you or you can let it fuel you. Every time you push past self-doubt, you become stronger. Every time you make a decision to take action, despite the fear and doubt, you build momentum. And that momentum is the key to breaking through. The more you step into your fear, the more you will see that self-doubt is nothing more than a barrier you've created in your own mind. Here's the challenge. Next time you feel self-doubt creeping in, recognize it for what it is, an obstacle that you have the power to overcome. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often the fear of failure is worse than the failure itself. Take a step forward, even if it's small. Action silences doubt, and every small victory will build your confidence and eliminate that voice of self-doubt a little more each time. Your journey towards success isn't about avoiding doubt, it's about embracing it, facing it head on, and using it as the fuel to power your progress. When you do that, nothing will be able to stop you. Stay flexible and adapt. Life doesn't always go as planned, and often the path to success is filled with detours, roadblocks, and unexpected challenges. The truth is, you can't control everything. You can't predict every obstacle that will come your way, and you certainly can't control other people's actions or external circumstances. But what you can control is how you respond. Success isn't about sticking rigidly to a plan no matter what. It's about staying adaptable, adjusting to the changes that come your way, and finding new paths forward when things don't go as expected. Look at someone like Jeff Bezos. When he started Amazon, the goal was clear, create an online bookstore. But as the company grew, Bezos recognized that to truly succeed, Amazon needed to offer more than just books. So he adapted. Amazon expanded its offerings to include everything from electronics to groceries. Then Bezos made another shift by introducing Amazon Web Services, AWS, which revolutionized the cloud computing industry. Each time, Bezos had to stay flexible and adapt to changing market conditions and opportunities. He didn't cling to the original vision. Instead, he continuously evolved it based on new information, insights, and challenges. Amazon's success is built on adaptability, recognizing when to pivot and daring to follow a new course when necessary. Now let's talk about you. How often do you find yourself frustrated when things don't go according to plan? When a business deal falls through, a job opportunity doesn't pan out, or life throws a curveball at you, the natural reaction is often to feel defeated or frustrated. But those moments of adversity aren't there to break you. They're there to teach you something, to show you how you can adapt, grow, and keep moving forward. The key is to shift your mindset. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, see them as opportunities to adjust and evolve. Every challenge is a lesson. Every obstacle is an invitation to discover a new way forward. Psychologically, staying flexible and adapting is critical because it allows you to maintain control over your emotional and mental state. When you try to force things to go your way, when you refuse to acknowledge that change is inevitable, you create tension and resistance within yourself. That resistance drains your energy and diminishes your ability to think clearly. But when you accept that life is unpredictable and that you can't always control the outcome, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. Adaptability isn't about giving up on your goals. It's about finding new ways to achieve them when the old methods aren't working. Think about someone like Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Blakely didn't come from money or privilege, and she didn't have a smooth, straight path to success. When she first developed her product, she faced rejection from countless manufacturers who didn't believe in her idea. But instead of giving up, Blakely adapted. She learned about patent law, she created a prototype on her own, and she went to work refining her vision. She didn't allow rejection to stop her. Instead, she adapted her approach and ultimately created one of the most successful brands in the fashion industry. Sarah Blakely's success wasn't about sticking to a rigid plan. It was about adapting, learning from setbacks, and pushing forward with a new strategy. So how can you apply this to your own life? The next time you encounter an obstacle, take a moment to breathe and assess the situation. Ask yourself, how can I pivot? How can I adjust? Rather than wasting energy on frustration, shift your mindset to one of exploration. Instead of thinking this isn't working, ask, what's the lesson here? How can I find a new approach? Stay open to new possibilities. Your success doesn't depend on executing a perfect plan. It depends on your ability to learn, grow, and stay adaptable in the face of adversity. Remember, the most successful people in the world aren't those who have never faced challenges. They are the ones who can adapt to change, embrace uncertainty, and keep moving forward no matter what. Flexibility and adaptation are essential skills in today's world. They allow you to stay grounded, keep your momentum, and find success even when the road ahead is unclear. Life will always throw curveballs. The question is, are you flexible enough to dodge them and keep your eyes on the prize? Adaptation isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself, no matter what obstacles arise. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Too often we get caught up in the pursuit of perfection, believing that the only way to be successful is to do everything flawlessly. We set high expectations for ourselves, and if we fall short, we focus on our mistakes and failures, ignoring the small victories along the way. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. The pursuit of perfection often leads to frustration, burnout, and missed opportunities. What truly matters is progress. It's about getting better every day, no matter how small those steps may seem. When you start celebrating progress, you shift your focus from what you haven't done to what you've already accomplished, and that shift is a game changer. Take someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We all know him as one of the biggest movie stars in the world, but his journey wasn't without its struggles. Before becoming the highest paid actor in Hollywood, The Rock was cut from his college football team and faced numerous setbacks in his early career. He started in the wrestling ring where he was criticized, doubted, and even booed by fans. But he didn't give up. He celebrated every small win, every improvement, every opportunity to grow, whether it was in the gym, in the wrestling ring, or on a movie set. Each day, The Rock took steps forward, and instead of waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to align, he kept pushing. Today, success is not just the result of talent, it's the result of relentless progress and a commitment to growth, no matter how long it took. Now, let's bring this closer to you. How often do you find yourself getting frustrated because you haven't achieved your goal yet, or because things aren't perfect? Maybe you're working on a project, trying to get healthier or building a business, and you've hit some bumps along the way. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't perfect. But when you focus on progress, every little step you take becomes a victory. Every day you show up, even when it's hard, is a step in the right direction. When you shift your mindset from perfection to progress, you start to celebrate each milestone, no matter how small. The path to success is built on these small wins, these little actions that add up over time. If you focus on them, you'll find motivation to keep going. Psychologically, this shift is incredibly powerful. Perfection is often tied to fear, the fear of not being good enough, of making mistakes, of disappointing others. And when we chase perfection, we often paralyze ourselves with this fear, holding off on taking action until we feel everything is perfect. But the moment you accept that progress is the goal, not perfection, you free yourself from the grip of fear. You begin to understand that mistakes are part of the process. They're not failures. They're lessons that help you grow and get better. Progress is about learning, improving, and moving forward, not about achieving an idealized version of success. The more you focus on the progress you've made, the less power fear has over you. Look at someone like Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. When Blakely first launched her company, she didn't have a perfect plan or an immaculate product. She had an idea and a drive to make it work. She made countless mistakes along the way, rejections, failed prototypes, financial setbacks. But instead of aiming for perfection, she celebrated every little win. Every step forward, no matter how small, was progress. Today, she's a self-made billionaire and one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, all because she embraced progress over perfection. She knew that failure wasn't the opposite of success, it was part of it. So here's the challenge. Shift your focus from perfection to progress. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. The more you focus on the progress you're making, the more momentum you'll build. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect version of your goal, take action now. Show up, take one small step forward, and celebrate it. With every little win, you'll build confidence, and with that confidence, you'll move closer to your ultimate goal. Perfection doesn't exist, but progress does, and that's what will get you where you want to go. When you start celebrating progress, you'll find yourself enjoying the journey, not just the destination. And that's when the real magic happens. Never stop learning. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start stagnating. Growth, success, and innovation are driven by the willingness to continuously learn, adapt, and evolve. In the world we live in today, knowledge is constantly shifting, evolving, and expanding. What worked yesterday might not work today, and what worked today might not work tomorrow. The key to staying ahead, to remaining relevant, and to building lasting success is to cultivate a mindset of lifelong learning. The best don't stop when they achieve success. They understand that the journey doesn't end with one accomplishment. Instead, they keep pushing themselves to learn, to grow, and to reach new heights. Take Warren Buffett, for example. Here's a man who is widely regarded as one of the greatest investors of all time. Yet despite all his success, he spends 6 hours a day reading. Yes, 6 hours. He is constantly learning, absorbing new information, understanding market shifts, and refining his investment strategies. He knows that the moment he stops learning is the moment he stops growing. And that's the difference between those who stay at the top and those who fall behind. Buffett could have easily rested on his laurels, but he understands that no matter how successful you become, the game is always changing. He continues to learn, adapt, and grow, and that's what has kept him on top for decades. Now think about this. How often do you make the decision to stop learning? Maybe you're comfortable with where you are, or you think you've already learned everything you need to know. But the truth is, the moment you stop learning, you stop growing. No matter how much experience you have, there's always more to discover, new skills to acquire, and new knowledge to gain. Think about how fast the world changes. New technology, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing business. If you're not staying on top of those changes, you're getting left behind. Psychologically, learning keeps the brain sharp. It stimulates cognitive growth, keeps you engaged, and strengthens problem-solving abilities. Learning doesn't just increase your knowledge, it also improves your mental flexibility, your creativity, and your resilience. When you learn, you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. You challenge your existing beliefs and ideas, and every time you do that, you expand the boundaries of what you think is possible. The act of learning rewires your brain, creating new neural pathways that allow you to think in new and innovative ways. It's like a muscle. You have to keep exercising it to keep it strong. Look at someone like Elon Musk. Musk didn't just wake up one day with the knowledge to create Tesla, SpaceX, or the Hyperloop. He spent countless hours learning everything he could about space, energy, engineering, and technology. He didn't have all the answers from the start, but he had the hunger to learn, the willingness to ask the tough questions, and the courage to dive deep into subjects he had no background in. When he started SpaceX, for example, he didn't know everything about rocket science, but he taught himself. He read textbooks, spoke to experts, and absorbed as much as he could. Musk's success isn't based solely on his natural talents. It's based on his relentless pursuit of knowledge and his ability to continuously learn. The reality is that the most successful people aren't those who have reached the top and stopped there. They're the ones who understand that the learning process never ends. They stay curious, they ask questions, and they keep evolving. They understand that the world doesn't stop changing, and neither should they. If you want to stay ahead, if you want to achieve your greatest goals, then you must adopt the mindset of a lifelong learner. Never stop seeking new knowledge, new perspectives, and new ways to improve. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start falling behind. So here's your challenge. Commit to learning every single day. Make it a priority. Set aside time to read, to listen to podcasts, to watch documentaries, or to attend seminars. Learn from the people around you, ask questions, take notes, and apply what you learn. Your growth, your success, and your future depend on it. Don't rest on what you know today. Seek out the knowledge that will propel you to the next level. And always remember, when you stop learning, you stop growing. The best are always learning, always evolving, always pushing themselves to be better. If you want to be the best, you have to make learning a lifelong pursuit.